Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video I thought I would talk about 5 movies from my collection that I own on 4K and ones that I would recommend upgrading to on the format if you haven't already. These 4K releases, they're not necessarily considered the best 4K discs out there, and some of you may even disagree with my choices, but I chose these films because when I watched them on 4K I felt like I could see a difference. I could see a substantial improvement over the previous Blu-ray releases that we've had of these movies. Because don't get me wrong, I love the 4K format, I think it's great, but I do think there are some movies out there that when I've watched them on 4K, I haven't really seen that much of a difference, and if there is a difference, it's marginal. I think that's especially true for a lot of newer films. I think a lot of new movies these days, they look so good on Blu-ray as they are, that when I watch them on 4K, I'm not really seeing much of a difference. Again, you guys may disagree with me on that. It may just be the system I'm using, the TV I'm using, but I think the 4K format definitely benefits older films more, especially ones that were shot on film. But like I said, these releases, they're not necessarily considered the best 4K discs, but if you're a fan of any of these movies, I would definitely recommend picking them up on the 4K format. So the first 4K I want to talk about is Predator. So yeah, this is not necessarily a top tier 4K release. It's not necessarily a disc you would use to show off your 4K TV or your 4K player with, but this is the best that this film has ever looked. The previous Blu-ray releases of this movie are not that great. It's had a very troubled history on the format, but if you like this movie, I would definitely recommend picking it up on 4K. It's not a very colourful movie, it's kind of dark in places, and it's an excessively grainy film. If you don't like film grain, you may not like this release, but for me, the film grain just adds to the tone of the movie. It feels very natural, it feels like the way it's supposed to look, and yeah, I can't really say much more than that. Like I said, it's not like one of the very best 4K releases, but if you like Predator, and if you have a 4K player and a 4K TV, then I would definitely recommend picking this up because it is the best the movie has ever looked. Next 4K release I'm going to go with is Pet Sematary. So yeah, this is a movie that I was kind of surprised to see on 4K. It just doesn't really feel like one of those movies that would get the 4K treatment, and if it did, it feels like, you know, a boutique label would do it, someone like Arrow or something. But yeah, we've got it anyway, and I was very surprised at the quality of this film. The level of detail is incredible. There's one scene in particular with the character Judd. He basically calls up the main character Lewis, and he says his cat is dead and it's at the side of the road. Lewis comes out to meet Judd, and there's a shot of Judd where he's got like his hood up, and it's one of those hoods that has like fur on it, and when you see the shot of Judd, the close-up shot of him, you can make out every single strand of fur on his hood, and it's just, you know, it's just like moments like that that really impressed me with this release. It was just a big surprise, this movie on 4K, and it just looks absolutely stunning. Again, it's an older movie. I think it was shot on film. I'm assuming it was, and yeah, it just looks very, very natural, very nice filmic look, and yeah, the level of detail is excellent. So yeah, if you like Pet Sematary, if you like this movie, definitely pick it up on 4K. Next movie I'm gonna go with is Stand By Me. Now, this is a Sony release, and I was actually torn between talking about this movie or Boys in the Hood, which is also released by Sony, but I decided to go with this one. Sony is probably the best at doing 4K, in my opinion. If you're ever looking for a movie on 4K and you see that it's been done by Sony, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be worth picking up because Sony really do know what they're doing. And I had to pick this movie because this movie just kind of has like this natural beauty anyway. Most of it is shot outdoors during the summertime. There's some beautiful locations in this movie, but the 4K just elevates it to new heights. Everything just looks so natural, so beautiful. Again, it's got that really sort of filmic kind of look, nice level of grain to the picture, and it just looks absolutely stunning. And also with this release, you get a new Dolby Atmos soundtrack. Now I know the soundtrack to this movie is it's not like a big bombastic action movie soundtrack, but it's still nice to have that upgrade. And yeah, it's just a beautiful looking movie, and it looks even better on 4K. I can't say much more than that. Again, if you like Stand By Me, definitely pick it up on 4K. Next movie I'm going to go with is Batman Returns. Now, this for me is probably hands down the best 4K release I own. I'm not just saying that because I love the movie. It's one of my all-time favorites. Not just one of my all-time favorite Batman movies, one of my all-time favorite movies, but this film on 4K looks incredible, just incredible. I know the other Tim Burton Batman film has kind of got more mixed opinions from people, because I know, well, I mean, I own it, and I know they messed with the colour a little bit, and they even modernised the soundtrack, which I know for die-hard fans can be a bit controversial. But with this movie, they pretty much left everything untouched, but obviously they improved the picture, they improved the sound quality, and yeah, it just looks stunning. It's a very slick transfer, but just, again, very, very natural looking, beautiful colours. The movie is 30 years old, came out in 1992, but it looks like it was shot yesterday. It is just that good. And for me, it's probably one of the more underrated 4K releases. It doesn't really get talked about that much. The quality is just fantastic. I can't say much more than that. The soundtrack is also really, really good, much improved, a nice Dolby Atmos soundtrack. Yeah, if you like Batman Returns, pick it up on 4K. And the last 4K I'm going to go with is another Tim Burton movie, and it is Beetlejuice. Now, the reason why I'm adding this one to the list is because when I put this movie on, when I put the 4K on, I straight away noticed the difference in quality. This movie has not really had the best sort of home media releases. I remember the previous Blu-ray was okay, I guess, but it wasn't great. There wasn't really anything great about it. But as soon as I put this movie on, and you know, the credits came up, and you get that opening shot of like the town and the trees and the greenery and all that, I just knew instantly that this was going to be a fantastic upgrade, and it is. The colours in this movie are fantastic because it's a very colourful film, of course. The level of detail is just incredible. And yeah, I just think the jump from Blu-ray to 4K with this movie is just massive. It is huge. And I can only repeat what I've said about the other 4Ks, but if you're a fan of this movie and you have 4K capabilities, then definitely pick up Beetlejuice because it looks absolutely stunning on 4K. So there you go, guys. Those are my 5 movies on 4K that I personally would recommend upgrading to. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think some of the best 4K releases we've had. I would love to hear your thoughts. But until then, guys, I will see you all next time. So take care, guys.